NG11, also known as the prestigious 11 of Bluelock, are some of the most prodigious under 20 players we have gotten to see throughout the series. Getting introduced to our first New Gen 11 was Sai, the second one was Kaiser, and the third one was Lorenzo. Fourth one has been recently Bunny. So I thought, why not rank these four insanely built players weakest to strongest, right? So that's what we'll be doing today. We'll be going over some of their feats and the narrative with them in general to break down why each of them deserves the spot that they got, right? So let's just get right into it with the weakest New Gen 11 in my personal opinion. And this is not a definitive spot for this character, right? Because I'm about to get slaughtered. This is not a definitive spot for this character because um he's about to get more playtime and more action in the manga with the U20 World Cup arc about to start. But for now, the weakest NG11 is Sai Itoshi. Personally, I think that he's currently on far watch for lack of showings and feats, especially when all of his feats and his showings come from beating on and going relative with the weaker versions of these U20 players in the Blue Lock facility, right? He played against a way worse and underdeveloped Blue Lock team and couldn't even win, and even at some points got outdone by them. Like for an example, Ren stopping his dribbling, or are you stopping his shots? You know, things like that. It's like, yes, do I believe in the type of narrative that he's not trying because he's not sweating? Yes, I actually do believe in that. The only issue with this is that the new Gen 11 players like Lorenzo and Kaiser that we get, they're also not trying on way stronger versions of these characters. And they're not really fit. Again, I feel like there's levels to it because, again, maybe Sai is just incredible when he is fully trying. But if we're comparing a not trying Sai to Kaiser and Lorenzo, he kind of gets gapped in feats and showings. Because even if you want to count all of them not trying, they all do better than him against better players, right? Now, I will say I'm not just gonna shit on Sai the entire time of his part in this video. His playmaking is still the best thing about him, personally. Being able to start and end an attacking play with himself, as we see in the U20 game, like the starting play. Sai is still by far one of the best playmakers we've seen so far. Now, I don't think he's currently the best passer. I think that would personally but I do think his playmaking is by far the most top tier thing about him, and it is the best thing we've seen um, in the playmaking category. Besides Hiyori, Hiyori is, I'd say, on the same level of playmaking he is on. It kind of gets like stated and hinted at and nudged at a few times in the manga, so I think it's pretty fair to say that, especially after Hiyori's leveled up a lot since the U20 game. I also do think Sai is tied down and is due for an awakening. Similar with Kunigami, I feel like he's withholding and restricting his own ego, but I think once he matches off against Bunny, the chains on him will be broken. Now, this is just a personal theory that I have. Um, I do think that Sai in his cover panel with the chains holding down on him, I think that's kind of hinting at something that he's overdue for an awakening. I do think that maybe he'll be relative to these new U20 players that just got done with the training arc. But I think that Sai, just like Ren, needs to, fully awaken and realize what his ego is so he's not tied down by anything anymore. But for now, he is at the weakest spot in the fourth spot, right? But it's not definitive. This can move in the future, and if it does, I will make a separate video about saying how Sai, I was wrong. I was wrong. Sai's like that. Now, the next spot, number 3, starting off with Lorenzo. I think people really misread his strengths and weapons. What Lorenzo is known for is his death mark, which was able to shut down Kaiser completely. The only time Kaiser was able to do something was when Lorenzo got off of him. Now, where the misconceptions come in is when Lorenzo is getting faked out by Hiyori with the ball, and I just want everyone to remember what makes Lorenzo so good is the fact that he can stop a player from getting the ball and keeping them locked up the whole game. So people that try and discredit his defense when someone has the ball should be irrelevant to what he actually specializes in. keeping the ball, keeping the best striker on the team checked, which he did do for a majority of the first half of the game, keeping the best striker on the team checked. Lorenzo has some pretty nice reflexes enough to block the Kaiser impact, which is the fastest swing in the world. So Lorenzo should have speed around the same level or close to Charles or another person that blocked the Kaiser impact. I would say Loki, but we know Loki's way faster than Lorenzo and Charles. So Charles is the only person we could accurately compare it to. Lorenzo also has the zombie dribbling, which is really the core of his offense besides his passing. Lorenzo is pretty good and mostly utilized for leading and being the team's main catalyst for fast and smooth and precise counterplay. My reasoning for Lorenzo being oversized due to him having better feet and he keeps up with the blue lockers that have way better physicals than their U20 versions and including Kaiser. I do just think Lorenzo is the more well-rounded and resourceful player at the moment, but again, size placement could change when he gets more feet. It's also, I want to make a clear note that Lorenzo did not try in the Bastard game regardless, nor did he try in the Manshine game. He's not sweating in these games, and we know if players aren't sweating, they're most likely not trying. We get the same thing with Sai, we do the same thing with Sai, we do the same thing with Kaiser. Y'all get the memo, right? So that's pretty much all for Lorenzo. I think I have to say it's all for Lorenzo. Now, the most interesting player on the list, Bunny Iglesias, currently has nothing but statements, but I'm putting him at number 2 because I just think narrative-wise he's oversized right now, and I think we can put him over Lorenzo with statements. When it really comes down to how good he is, and he scored a goal on a goalkeeper that at least we under the impression is world class, because this is a world class level, world class setting. This is more of a prediction of what I think he will truly be as of the moment, but I don't have much to really say about him. It's clear Bunny was the one who tarnished Sai, so that would be default at least put him over him. And Lorenzo, in my opinion, would follow the same. But now we're on to who I think the current undisputed best New Gen 11 is. Kaiser is one of the few players to show us a lot of things first, right? And yes, Michael Kaiser is the number 1 player. Call me a glazer, call me a dick rider, I just think this is the case. Kaiser was the first person for us to vividly see Metavision in action and it be addressed until Isagi mentioned Sai could have used it in the U20 game. That's fine, but it's clear Kaiser was the first person at first time where it was truly addressed and named something. Kaiser is also the first player we see use Predator's Eye. And with that being said, he's also the only person that we've seen have both somehow, right? Like both in conjunction, like he can use Metavision and Predator's Eye. Nobody else can do that in the series right now. And he let us know that it is possible to have both of them and interchange with the two. Kaiser has the most feats in development out of all 4 of them by far, and it's not close at all. He also goes through an awakening through one of these games, so he gets even stronger. We can start by talking about his offense stuff. And the main course for Kaiser's offense is his physicals and his off-the-ball movement. The only person that is better than him at off-the-ball movement is most likely Otoya. But Kaiser can easily maneuver through traffic and use his metavision to perfectly calculate all of it, like in the Barcha game. Kaiser's dribbling is also very busted, although not shown a lot when Kaiser started trying and kicked up a gear against Chris Prince going relative, and Isagi points out that Chris Prince is trying to use his physical body against Kaiser, noting that he's strong and fast in the panel where Chris is trying to hold back Kaiser. Kaiser's absurd shot selection. Now, Kaiser has an insane shot selection and he's able to make the impossible possible. He practically makes it impossible to stop his shots, and it's the fact that he has the fastest shot swing in the world, so barely anyone can really react to it. But that's not even really the worst part. Kaiser combines this with the fact that it's almost nigh impossible to stop him without fouling him, and he can easily create the most impossible goal scoring opportunities. A prime example is the Ubers game with his bicycle kick, which is objectively one of the most absurd and best goals in the series. Kaiser also has the Kaiser Impact Magnus, which is a curved shot, which debatably an even better curved shot than Ren and solid shot and passes, since Kaiser created a pass variant of the move called Kaiser Impact Magnus Cross. His defense is also pretty solid, being able to get some smooth tackles off and interrupt shot courses. But just overall, he's the best NG11 undeniably, and I don't think that will really change. But this is my NG11 ranking currently. Now, any of this can change in the U20 World Cup arc, but for now, as of currently, I think this is the definitive list, and I don't think any of this should really be argued besides Bunny's spot, since Bunny has had like 1 feet and mostly just carried by statements, which can easily be watered down to being less than Lorenzo or maybe even less than Sai. But again, the narrative is being pointed at that Bunny is over Sai because Sai wants to get his revenge on Bunny, and so on and so forth. Now, if you guys like this video and you have comments or you disagree with me on it, just comment in the video or even hit me up on Discord. You know, I usually take the requests on Discord to talk about my takes. And that is pretty much all for this video. If you enjoyed, if you like, I really truly appreciate it. If you want more content like this, I would recommend you sub up. And I'll see you guys in the next time. Peace.